Well, big day yesterday, big day today on much more serious grounds. But yesterday, Philadelphia beat New England 25-20. Philadelphia beat New England 25-20. I had Philadelphia minus 3.5. It means they covered. I went 25 large. 25 large.
Yeah, you did.
And
25 large.
I have the proof. Can they put it up on the screen? I have a proof. Look there's my receipt. There is my receipt, which shows you, I'm telling you the truth, I had a $47.50 payout.
Fine, but that's not 25 large. 25 large is not $25.
By the way, I'm not always...
I love how you completely just ignore me.
I'm not always going to show you my betting receipts.
Why? It's so interesting.
I know, but what if I get on a losing streak?
I think you're doing pretty well.
I was not on a losing streak yesterday.
No,
Listen to this. Okay, so I had...
You wish you best 25 large.
I had Philadelphia at minus 3.5. Now, I lost a parlay with Philadelphia covering, but Jalen Hurts scoring the first TD. He didn't. But I won a parlay with Philadelphia covering and Devontae Smith scoring a touchdown. And in the Battle of Ohio, I had Cleveland minus 0.5 and won that one too. So it was really great. What a great day. Open the Bet Parks Sportsbook app and you are in the zone. In Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, and Maryland, and you can live in-game bet, meaning live bet during the game. As the events change, you can change your wager. Nobody does live in-game betting better than Parks. Bet on all the action as it happens tonight. New York is a 2-point underdog at home hosting Buffalo. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, but I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. You've got to be 21 and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Time now for the headlines from the Monday edition, the 22nd anniversary edition of September 11. I don't know about you. I woke up this morning thinking about where I was 22 years ago today, and of course thinking about all those that we lost, the nearly 3,000 that we lost. By the way, TC is wearing, I am wearing my Steven Singer lapel pin. So many of you bought these pins for $10 each, and of course our generous friend Steven Singer raised so much money for September 11 charities. I will never stop thanking those who bought the pins so that, yeah, there it is on my lapel for those who are watching on YouTube. It looks a little gold in the image. It's silver, although I think I do have a gold one. I have so many of them because I bought so many of them over the years, and Stephen was so wonderful. We are so proud of our podcast, our September 11 anniversary podcast, because no event has dominated, well, maybe Trump.
No.
Beyond Trump, unquestionably, no event has dominated more of my airtime than the events of September 11, the before, the during, the after. And we very carefully culled the most memorable moments from a lot of radio interviews and commentaries. And that's the podcast.
You know, it's interesting. I am so familiar with it. It is something that we all worked hard to put together. And yet, when I listen to it as it's meant to be listened to, chronologically, when I listen to the whole thing, it's my way of honoring today. It is still so raw and so important. And I think it is something, one of those things I am most proud of that we have done.
Me too.
Here. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I salute you for all the work that you put into it.
It's
and
you.
Dan,
I just put it together.
And the interviews and the research.
Yep.
The way that the podcast, and it's in all my social media, you can access it, no paywalls, very easily done, and you can start and stop. There we go. I'm a little tongue-tied. But first up, you hear from Jose Perez, the former inspection officer at the Orlando International Airport, who did not let the so-called 20th hijacker come into the United States a month preceding the events of September 11. I've written about Jose so many times. I wrote a whole book called Instinct about Jose Perez. All the proceeds went to charity. But I talked when I wrote about him in 2005, so 4 years thereafter, about bringing him to Philadelphia so that he could be honored. And before I play just a brief 30-second clip, I want to paint this picture. Jose Perez, one of the great unsung heroes of 9/11, felt a room full of brotherly love last week. Arguably, it's Melendez we can thank for the fact that Flight 93 never completed its mission of striking a symbol of democracy in Washington and instead crashed into a field in western Pennsylvania. Melendez was feted at a luncheon in his honor at the Union League of Philadelphia. A confab of conservative Republicans? Not exactly, particularly when Representative Bob Brady, head of the city Democrats, stood up to present Melendez with a flag that he flew in his honor over the Capitol and thanked Melendez for saving his life. I'll never forget that moment when Brady did that. Still, no amount of recognition could ever fully thank Melendez for what he did while performing his job back on August 4, 2001. It was Melendez, an immigration inspector, who stopped Mohammed al-Qahtani when he tried to enter the United States at the Orlando International Airport. Qahtani was a Saudi national who was directed to Melendez because he had incorrectly filled out a customs declaration. Qahtani claimed not to speak English. Melendez put Qahtani into his computer and it came up negative. His documents seemed genuine. A check of his possessions was unremarkable. And still, Melendez didn't let him pass. Why? Quote, "My job requires me to know the difference between legitimate travelers to the U.S. and those who are not," he told the 9/11 Commission. This included potential terrorists. Here's a snippet of what he told me in reflecting on that day. "You told them that this guy, quote, just gave me the creeps. What was it about Mohammed al-Qahtani, who is the focus of this Time magazine piece this week, cover story? What is it about him that gave you the creeps?"
Well, this guy, number one, he stared. You know, the way he looked at me when I went to the secondary room to pick him up. His body language, the way he expressed himself, he kept pointing the finger at my face when he was in the speakerphone with the interpreter. I mean, this guy's behavior, I mean, like I said before, you must have been there to see what I was talking about. This guy was, the stare, his look was like he was ready to jump on me to do something. I mean, this guy was so arrogant that was pathetic. I mean, this guy didn't have one thing in mind and was to come into the United States no matter what. I thought that he was using an intimidating type of factor in order to see if he had backup from the interrogation and let him in.
So Mohammed al-Qahtani gets turned around at the Orlando International Airport by Jose Perez. Later, the 9/11 Commission is able to figure out that Mohammed Atta, the ringleader of all the September 11 hijackers, was at the airport to pick him up. What becomes of him when now he's sent back home? He goes back literally to bin Laden and is captured at the Battle of Tora Bora a month after, 2 months after, I guess it was, the events of September 11. And only when he's captured and his personal information is now put into a computer and his biometrical information is put into a computer, is there a recognition on our part, hey, wait a minute, this is a guy who sought access or entry to the United States a month before September 11. And the pieces then get assembled, leading many on the 9/11 Commission to conclude that he was to have been the 20th hijacker on Flight 93, which crashed in Shanksville, 600 miles an hour, flying upside down and landing in a former strip mine. It only needed 20 more minutes to get to the nation's capital. So if Jose Perez hadn't turned him around, if he'd been on that flight, there would have been 5 hijackers on Flight 93, like the other flights, not the 4. They were shorthanded. And maybe with that added muscle, they would have stayed in the air for the additional 20 minutes and then reached the Capitol. So imagine what September 11 could have been like without the work of Jose Perez. It's just one snippet that you will hear of many as we recreate the events of that day in the podcast. You know that for 20 straight years, we used to just wipe the slate clean of the radio program. I still question myself as to whether I should keep doing that for as long as I'm on air, but we stopped after the 20th anniversary with Steven Singer's blessing. But the podcast lives on, and we hope you'll go listen to it. Anything else you wanted to say about that?
It's important. And
yeah.
Yeah,
it's important.
Never forget.
Yeah, and if you have your pin, wear your pin. Wear your pin today. Today's poll question, by the way, on this subject: 22 years post 9/11, is the war on terror over? Go and answer that question at Smerconish.com. More headlines now from the Smerconish.com Monday edition of the newsletter. So you're going to see a story in the links today from the Des Moines Register. And the headline from the Des Moines Register says, Donald Trump greeted with cheers and chants in Ames at the Iowa State football game. I went with the Des Moines Register because it was the most straight down the middle. Yes, Trump, and I think DeSantis was there too, but Trump got all the headlines, went to this huge Iowa rivalry on Saturday, college football rivalry in the important voting state of Iowa. And the Des Moines Register said he was greeted with cheers and chants. But it seems like
correct.
Everybody else like picked a side in the coverage.
Has a slight slant.
So, Mediaite, loud boos rained down on Trump at Iowa college football game. Fox News, Donald Trump tailgates before Iowa State. Crowd goes crazy as he walks into stadium. USA Today, Donald Trump booed at Iowa State game, but there were cheers. Newsweek, Donald Trump loudly booed and cheered. Deadline, mixed reaction. Yahoo, harsh one-finger salute during Iowa State. One more, The Independent.
I love the harsh one-finger salute. Like, that's hilarious.
You do it with your fingers bent.
Like that.
Look at that. Look what she's doing to me right now. Freeze frame that. Freeze frame that. The boys at Creative. There she is. The lady from Raleigh, Durham, wherever.
I'm a class act. What can I say?
How about The Independent? Where's Melania? Banner flies above the football stadium.
But it did. Someone flew a plane above the football stadium.
And then something called The Spun. Trump receives huge welcome. So it's like, depending on your media source, he was either booed, resoundingly booed, or he was cheered. So I said to TC, first of all, get me all those headlines, but secondly, get me the audio. What do you have?
So there have been various people that have tweeted videos of him standing up and being waved. So I have 3 different clips. We can hear what we hear. My take is no one's lying. It just depends what you want to emphasize. Yeah, exactly. So here. We love you. Chants of USA.
Seems like a big cheer.
I hear some boos underlying.
Yeah. I hear some boos.
Okay, that was one angle.
Okay.
Here's another one. What do you think?
I think it's a mixed reaction.
And here's another one.
Yeah.
One more.
That sounds more favorable.
There were definitely pictures of people with the, flipping them off.
Trump's reaction in Iowa was whatever you want it to have been.
You know what it was? It was unbelievably well covered. And isn't that the point?
Yeah. And I'm glad we went with the Des Moines Register because I think mixed reaction is most accurate.
I think that's the most accurate.
Is most accurate.
For sure.
I am performing in pain today. I am performing in pain.
I know, but I think maybe
do you
want
hear me performing in pain? Like,
No.
If I didn't tell you, would you know?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
and
you
I
wouldn't?
And I wouldn't have known on Saturday either, which I think was where
Do you want the quick story?
Did it start Saturday or did it start Friday?
So Friday evening, CNN show is like put to bed. I'm in a good place.
Now I think I hear it.
In Ocean City, New Jersey, and this is not their fault. I'm just telling the complete story.
Right.
I have spoken of the trifecta of Mac and Manco's Pizza. They've changed the name. There's a story.
It's only Mac or Manco.
Core Brothers Ice Cream and Johnson's popcorn, which is like caramel popcorn.
Oh,
okay.
And you get
the
that
triple threat.
big bucket, and they put it. It's overflowing, and you walk down the boardwalk eating that.
So I was in Ocean City. I was in Ocean City a week or two ago. I came home with Johnson's popcorn, and everybody just sticks a hand in and grabs whenever they want to at our house. I had some Johnson's popcorn. All of a sudden, I feel something here. Oh, you know what? One of those kernels got stuck in my teeth.
That happens.
So I floss and I brush, and I still feel it. Okay, but I'm not in immense discomfort. It's Friday night.
It's just like something stuck in your tooth.
Something stuck in my tooth. But now I realize, wait a minute, it's not stuck in my tooth. It's not. Maybe I pulled out a filling.
What?
With the popcorn.
Ooh.
So I wake up on Saturday, I go, and I'm not speaking Friday night nor Saturday morning, but now it's 8 o'clock Saturday morning, and I do a full rehearsal where the lights are on me, and I'm reading the script, preparing for the CNN show, and all of a sudden now, by the time 9 o'clock comes, I'm like, oh, Jesus, something is cutting into my tongue big time, right?
Okay.
So
the side of your mouth or your tongue? Your tongue.
There is, what is clear now is that a tooth was cracked or something, and I have a protrusion sticking into my tongue. You're laughing. If I show you the side of my tongue, you won't be laughing.
I'm telling you, tongues are no joke. I sometimes bite my tongue, or I got one cut. It's like it hurts like all get out.
So I was worried about my ability to get through. I know I sound like a big, I'll say wimp. Okay. Worried about my ability to get through the CNN show on Saturday.
That's not being a wimp. This is your voice. This is your instrument.
So now Saturday is over. So I call my dentist, and I don't want to make him come in on a Saturday.
I think you need an oral surgeon.
So he recommends that I go to the, I was going to say hardware store. He recommends that I go to the pharmacy, and there's like a temporary filler you can use if you've lost a filling.
Yeah.
So I go to CVS or Rite Aid.
Can I ask you a question? At this point, had someone taken a look in there? Could you see what was going on?
No.
So how did you know you were missing a filling?
But just commonsensically, because I had the Johnson's popcorn, and immediately I have this feeling, and what I can feel with my finger is a real sharp protrusion.
Yeah, but why would losing a filling make it be a protrusion?
I have no idea. I'm happy to give you a little glimpse.
Yeah, I think I need to take a look.
You'll see an ugly scar on the side of my tongue. Wait,
I have a
do you want to hear the end of the story or not?
I do.
Okay, so the point of the story is I went to 3 different pharmacies on Saturday. 3 different ones. The first time I got like the temporary epoxy. That did not work for me because it never dried. Okay. Then one of our sons said, Dad, you remember when we had braces? Yeah. Well, when you have a brace issue,
the wax stuff,
you get wax.
Yeah.
And you just put a ball of the wax on, put the ball of wax on the sharp thing. So I did that. That was trip number 2.
Okay.
That didn't work.
Okay.
So I'm still now in pain, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. This is now Saturday night. So I make trip number 3 to a pharmacy, and this time I get a mouth guard.
Why does this stuff
like for
only
a football
happen to
like for
you?
a football player, mouth guard?
Yeah.
Just so I can have something in between my tooth and my tongue. And then Sunday morning, I had to make the emergency dental visit just so they could grind. It took 10 seconds just to like grind off the edge. And today I've got to go back.
Did the emergency dental tell you that a crown was missing?
Yeah.
Okay, so they have confirmed that this is the issue.
Yeah, filling.
So the tooth is not cracked.
Filling.
Okay, tooth is not cracked. The filling is missing.
Somehow when the filling came out, it left either a piece of filling or a piece of tooth.
Did you swallow the filling?
Probably with the popcorn.
Oh, you'll pass it.
I spit it out. I spit it out. Yeah. So that is my tale of woe.
That could be another whole story.
I have to say, I'm sure everybody listening and everybody watching is like, this guy is such a weakling.
Michael,
but
okay, I have you know me. I am not a sympathetic person
here's
in general.
the thing.
That is your instrument.
But
that is. I'm sorry.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was getting. I'm like a painter with a broken finger.
You're like a violinist
with
a broken string.
The one thing I need to work is my mouth.
And you're performing
oh my God.
in pain.
I'm performing in pain.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Seriously. I usually am not.
Right.
And I truly feel for you. I do.
And then I have to keep talking, obviously, today.
Yeah, why don't you stop
I should
talking?
not have eaten a normal meal like I did last night.
you got to eat soft food.
Do I?
Yeah.
Roughage?
Do not. Okay, this is.
But how do you
what you can
rehabilitate
do?
a tongue?
Oh no, it'll grow back. It's fine.
No, I
It's
mean,
fine.
but I can't be silent.
Well, I think you need to rest as much
Voice
as
rest?
possible, and I think you need to eat soft food. Like instead of a meatball sub where you're chewing the meat,
Right.
just get the meatball.
You're
and
too
then
late.
Kind of mush it up like in your mouth, like this.
Yeah, you're too late.
What did you have for dinner last night? Like, please tell me you don't have like
You know what I
tacos
did?
with a hard shell.
I'll tell you what,
Oh,
and
no.
then we're done here,
Okay.
and then we're
Okay,
done. First of all, I all my tomatoes are in, and all my peppers are in
Okay.
right now.
Bring 'em in.
So all I want to do is eat tomatoes and peppers and onions. But you know what I put on them?
What?
Tell me.
Your good seasons dressing.
My good seasons dressing.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
The vinegar, I think,
Oh.
in there just was a killer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
I had a little whiskey after to make sure I cleared that
Just-
right out.
It's antibacterial. It's antiseptic. Everyone on YouTube is saying that tongues heal fast. Okay.
Yeah, well, not fast enough.
I'm just saying.
Not fast enough.
Wow. All right. And on that note,
And on that happy note, hey, am I not a warrior for all of you?
You
Okay.
are.
Am I not a warrior for all of
grateful.
you?
So grateful.
A lesser man would have taken the day off.
never.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Go vote on the 9/11 inspired poll question today at Smerconish.com.